Hello and welcome everyone. This is teacher Nariman Al-Faddawi from King Abdulaziz Model Schools. I'm going to present this lesson from Flying High 5. The title of Unit 5 is History's Mysteries and Lesson 5 is Grammar. Third conditional. The third conditional gives imaginary result of consequence of unreal past. I had no money. I was unhappy. If I had had money, I would have been happy. The objectives of Lesson 5: infer the rule for the third conditional accurately, construct third conditional sentences skillfully, make up good structured endings for third conditionals logically. Third conditional. If Ismay had allowed more lifeboats, a lot more people would have survived. A lot more people would have survived if Ismay had allowed more lifeboats. The third conditional is formed by an if clause and a main clause. The if clause can come first or second. If it comes first, the clauses are separated by a comma, but if it comes second, a comma is not necessary. The formation of the third conditional. If my alarm clock have gone off, I would have got to work on time. The tense in the if clause is past perfect, had plus past participle. The form of the verb in the main clause is would have plus past participle. Look at these sentences in the third conditional and answer the questions. If Ismay had allowed more lifeboats, a lot more people would have survived. If the ship hadn't traveled so fast, the iceberg wouldn't have caused so much damage. I would have done the same if I had been in his place. Question number 1. What tense do we use in the half of the sentence with if? We use the past perfect in the if clause. What form of the verb do we use in the other half of the sentence? We use would have plus the past participle of the verb. Does the half of the sentence with if always come first? No, it can come second. How do we know? When it is had or would. We know it is had if it is in the if clause. Do we use the third conditional for imaginary situations in the present or past? We use the third conditional for imaginary situation in the past. Complete the sentences with the correct forms of the verb. If the Roman Empire, Latin would probably have remained the most universal language. If the Roman Empire had continued, Latin would probably have remained the most universal language. If the Titanic hadn't hit an iceberg, it in New York safely. If the Titanic hadn't hit an iceberg, it would have arrived in New York safely. Perhaps dinosaurs if an asteroid hadn't hit the Earth. Perhaps dinosaurs would have survived if an asteroid hadn't hit the Earth. Perhaps Sir Isaac Newton wouldn't have thought about gravity if an apple on his head. Perhaps Sir Isaac Newton wouldn't have thought about gravity if an apple hadn't fallen on his head. Number 5. If they hadn't found oil in 1938, Saudi Arabia would never have become such a rich country. If Christopher Columbus had sailed east, he wouldn't have found out that America existed. The world would have evolved in a totally different way if somebody had invented the computer 200 years ago. If a plane really had crashed here, somebody would have found some physical evidence of it by now. The value. Making healthy decisions is easy. The assessment. Correct the verb between brackets. If I have the time, I would have learned to speak another language. Number 2. Choose the correct alternatives. He wouldn't have had an accident if he more careful. Had been, have been, was, been. Number 3. Choose the formation of the third conditional. A. Subject plus present simple. Subject plus will plus infinitive. B. Subject plus past simple. Subject would plus infinitive. C. Subject plus past perfect. Subject plus would have plus the past participle. The outcomes of lesson 5: infer the rule for the third conditional accurately and construct third conditional sentences skillfully. Make up good structured endings for third conditionals logically. Thank you for making a positive difference every day. This lesson is presented by teacher Nariman Al-Faddawi.